Hello and welcome to Moreno Makes. Here we are making another display board for the Middle-earth strategy card game. In this case it's the Crux of Doom. We are going to start by marking the foam with a sculpting tool. Here I'm going with the marker over the indentations that I created with my sculpting tool. So I'm separating the structures into the pillar section, as you can see here, and then there's the cliff itself, which I'm going to be texturing later. Are about 3 centimeters wide, which is a little bit more than an inch. Foam carving with an alpha knife. So these are kind of like crenellations that are gonna go underneath the walkway. Cutting the spikes for the walkway. These are gonna go on the sides. And now they are done and ready to be glued. I decided to go for bark. This should be, if you ever use bark from the wild, make sure you bake it first at least 180 Fahrenheit. And this was clean and bake. And then on the back, I just added some foil and tried to texture it as close as possible to the bark texture. Here, finally, we have a texturing that you probably seen before, but if you haven't, you just get some foil, make a ball, and that's gonna create the nice rocky texture on the foam. And to finish it up, this is a type of drywall putty that I'm using to fill the gaps. All you gotta do afterwards is to come back with a paper towel and some water and clean the excess. And that will be the sculpting phase. Here we're gonna start with the minis, guys. Sauron, and then obviously Sam here. These are great skulls from when the movie came out. Frodo here about to throw the ring. Starting with Sauron. You're just clipping off the parts. This is now resin. It used to be metal. One of my first minis was actually the metal Sauron, so I am actually very glad this is actually just resin. It's much more easy to work with. I'm clipping off the bases because I won't need them. I'm gonna magnetize them to their bases later, as well as magnetize them to the display board. Is going to be kind of in the middle of the spike, while the hobbits will be in different places. Sam is going to be all the way in the back, and Frodo is going to be all the way on the cliff. It's going to be glued to the base, and then the minis will also have the corresponding magnets. gaps, so the magnets are covered. Right here I created some pads with plastic glue and some wax paper. Now that we have some pads on, we can safely put the sculpture on the tablet without scratching it. Always use Mod Podge when priming foam. That's gonna make it stronger and more durable. This particular one is a mix of black paint and Mod Podge. This is the main drawback of working with fine cast. You have to fill all the gaps from the mold. Finally, I added the magnets, and this is how it's gonna look like. That would be Frodo there, Sam, and Sauron. There you go. So this is important. You need to reinforce the connections between the arms and the body, especially for larger miniatures like this one. So this is more like a object source lighting because the lava lighting comes from below. So instead of using a zenithal priming that would come from above, I'm actually tilting the minis so they're gonna be darker on the top and lighter coming from below from the lava flow. I started the paint job with a bone white, an off-white color. Sam also has an off-white shirt. And then moving on to the pants, Sam's are black, and then Frodo's are going to be actually brown. Frodo's hair is actually base black. Bronze Fleshtone for Sam's hair. Don't forget the hobbit fur on their feet. Here I'm using regular flesh shade for the hair, Sam's hair. And also the hobbit fur skin. Moving on to Vallejo's Ultramarine Blue, and that would be for Sam's sword. For the rings chain, I started with the belcher. Vallejo's Beasty Brown for the pants highlights, and also for some highlights, I grabbed Earthshade as brown wash for the brown areas, and a little bit on top of Sam's hair. Also on the pants. Suspenders a little bit on the metal areas too as well. Basically lots of Agrath shape. Basic skin tone is going to be used for the highlights. Finally, the ring on polished gold from Vallejo. And we're going over the highlight. Regular flesh shade to shade the ring, following non-oil to shade the chain.